gift for you guys at the end, so hang around. It's a super awesome gift. It's courtesy of our good friend David Allison, who is recovering from cancer surgery. They got it all out according to the surgeons, which is really, really great. So if you're friends with him, drop him a line. I've been talking to him, and he's doing awesome. But the gift is kind of courtesy from him, and we'll talk about that later. But it's a real game changer when it comes to understanding your target audience and how you market to them and how you learn to write what you're writing to them. So it's a good what's the word, add on to what we're talking about today. So these are my favorite 11 rules. These are the rules that we use to inform Lately to get people like Gary Vaynerchuk 12,000% increased engagement. And they're the rules that you can apply to yourself, right? So they're no joke rules. They super work. They work for copywriting at large. We're going to focus on social media, but I'll show you some examples, but you can generally swap them out to any kind of writing that you're doing. So I'm sure people will ask questions about that, which I'll get into. So for those of you who I don't know or you don't know me, why should you be listening to me today? Because I'm really good at this. So I took these ideas, the rules I'm going to share with you today. I used them for a little company called Walmart, and got them 130% ROI year over year for 3 years, right? So if they're good enough for Walmart, they're certainly good enough for you, and we'll break it down. I also used to be a rock and roll DJ. There's my other life. That's my husband back there. He wears chinos now, and he's got shorter hair, and he's in sales. So not as fun as he was back in the day when Keith Richards was putting his arm around him. But what's important about radio is that I was broadcasting to 20 million listeners a day and had this gift of turning listeners into fans or customers into evangelists, right? And so we've woven the neuroscience of how humans behave, how they react to words. The spoken word is what I learned, but I learned the parallels between the spoken word and the written word, which we're going to talk about today. And that's part of the gift we've got as well. So there's a lot that goes into why the rules we've chosen today work the way that they work. Here's the big problem we all have. This means you. It means all of us here in this room. The writing that you're doing now is probably falling flat, right? Zero engagement. 99% gets zero engagement. This is a great stat to give to your clients. If you work with clients, people who don't understand social or why they should care, this is why they should care. But here's why they should care more, right? So companies are spending $400 billion. They're wasting it on stupid social messaging, on bad digital copy, right? It's a huge waste because people aren't really thinking about objectives, frankly. They're not thinking about why am I doing this? They're just thinking, get it off my plate, put something out there to put it out there. That's a huge issue that a lot of clients have, or that bosses sort of dismiss the work that we're all doing here. So we don't want to take remedial writing training. Nobody wants that. God help you, right? It's horrible. So really quickly, Lately is a different kind of generative AI that applies all of the things we're talking about today to the content that it generates for our customers. And this is the results that we get them. The content I'm going to show you today, the rules, are all part of the tenets that we use. And these are no joke stats, right? This beats the pants off of ChatGPT because we've been able to incorporate the neuroscience of how music works and writing and how people react to content into what we do. But I'm going to give you guys those basics so that at least by hand, you can kind of get there as well. So this is the first rule. Again, if you haven't chimed in the chat, tell me where you are, tell me where you live. Hopefully my team can drop my LinkedIn in there. Pop over to LinkedIn, connect with me if you haven't already. Tell me you were here so I know that we actually know each other. I love that. So please do that. This rule is the one that I find I still commit this crime, but women especially do this. We somehow like to undercut our authority with what we write. And so I want to inspire you all to write like a boss. When you write with authority, you are able to convey trust. And trust is the number one reason why consumers make the buying decisions they make, and how you turn customers into evangelists, right? We want that and more. I want you to want that and more. It's not just enough to write for the sake of writing. Write to get people to do what you want them to do, buy my stuff, and then turn them into fans that evangelize for free. This is the recipe to do that. So weak words Write out what you're going to say. I say vomit. We'll go over that a little. Write it out and then edit very strategically. Look for words like this. I think, well, could that be replaced by I know, right? I just wanted to do that. See how you can really undercut your own authority. Probably, maybe, possibly. Like there's a place for that language is in customer service. Those people have to be really nice and kiss a lot of babies, right? And so it's not that there's no place for these words, but need is a big one. You don't want to be the needy team. The needy team says need. I learned this in public radio when we were raising money. You never want to say we just need another $20,000 because it turns people off. Right. So that's a big one to 86. I'm going to show you all examples throughout, and I'm going to read the examples to you as well, because I want you to hear how they're coming out of my mouth, because it's another rule that we're going to touch on in a second. But here we go. Marketing is like brushing your teeth with an electric toothbrush. Yes, the head moves on its own, but you still have to hold the brush. Work required humans plus machines, more on how AI and humans must both be part of the equation link. So you can see there's a lot of factors that we're going to go over happening here. The first one, though, is statements. Marketing is like, it's not kind of like, I'm making a simile, right? Metaphor, simile, help me. Brushing your teeth, right? So there's a statement. And then there's another statement. Yes, the head moves on its own, but you still have to hold the brush. Now I'm yelling at you on purpose because there's the authority there. Now I am softening my yell with emojis, right? Because I want you to hear my message. I want you to digest it. I don't want you to feel like I've totally yelled at you. I want you to feel the humor there, but also the gravity at the same time. And then the hashtags are supporting what I'm saying. Work required, human plus machines, because that's something that we preach here at Lately, and for good reason, because we know that humans plus machines outperform machines alone by 7x. And then another statement here at the end, more on how AI and humans must both be part of the equation. Statements, right? And again, we're going to walk through some of the other little tricks I'm using here in a second, but take that in. I'm going to motor mouth because we do only have half an hour and I got to get through all this stuff, which is a lot. So bear with me, guys. Okay. All right. This one, sorry, everyone's guilty of this. Check out my webinar today. Check it out. Stop checking it out. Check out. Check out is awful. It is the worst call to action. It doesn't tell anybody anything what they're going to get if they check it out, right? It's lazy. I think it's vapid. It also undermines your trust because it can be seen as very spammy. How do I know what's going to happen if I click this link? If all you're telling me is to check out the link, you're not telling me what's going to happen. Why is it worth my time, right? This is what, if you can't tell me why it's worth my time, then I don't believe you. And now you're a spammy, time waster. I actually like to avoid CTAs altogether, the non-CTA CTA. So this is kind of an example of that. About to record the next edition of Scaling Your Startup with Mihak and Jason. I even brushed my hair. Subscribe to hear a few copywriting tricks I haven't shared before. So that's my CTA, subscribe, that's the verb. When you start any sentence with a verb, the verb becomes a commanding, it makes the sentence a command, and command means trust because it means authority. So it's all sort of together there, right? A couple of those tools I'm using here. I've got an aside. I even brushed my hair, so I'm trying to be human, letting you know that I do things like that too. And then for those of you who had the class before, I'm appealing to your sense of repetition. There's something new that I haven't shared before, right? So here's an example of like a sort of a non-CTA CTA, I like to say. All right, so don't bury the lead. I'm so guilty of this. My CTO, Brian, has corrected me in the past because I was taught, like many of you were, to write a paper in school, and the beginning should be this long preamble about setting it up, and then you go through all your examples, and then at the end, so when you hit us with the whole the summary, etc., in your point. So you can't really do that in real life because people aren't that patient. They don't want to scroll through to find to the end. I mean, God, you're looking at a recipe on Epicurious or wherever, and like, I just want to know what the temperature is and the ingredients. Like, I don't need to read 8,000 pages of like how you got the idea for this recipe. It's so annoying. So you want to think that way as well. You want to put it right up front. 86, the preambles, you know, like that's the kitchen term, get rid of them. Those verbs, like I said, right up front, when you push the verb up front, the sentence becomes a command. It becomes a CTA within itself, and commands are commanding. That's the trust issue. So here's what I was saying before: vomit, then edit. This is my motto. And I would encourage this with you as well. So just get it on the page and then go back and apply these rules, or whatever rules that you know work for you as well, but just get it out there first. So here's an example of not burning the lead. Is your LinkedIn company page a turd? We'll cover how to fix that, plus how often to post, when not to tag, video, the bane of personal page analytics, plus the kitchen sink today. 3 blah blah blah, whatever I said, blah blah blah. May the fourth be with you, because it was Star Wars Day. So here we go, where I'm asking a question. I'm a little bit obnoxious. That's my way. I'm not saying everybody needs to be this way, but it works for me. This is my voice, and I know it works for us, right? And I can be a little risque, and I know that, and my audience will tolerate that. I'm asking a question, number one, and I'm asking a question that I also know most people, including me, would say yes to, right? This is when you're just like, oh, yep, totally busted. And then I'm telling you what we're going to do. We're going to, cover how to fix that. And then we're going to address some common issues that people want to know. Like, wait, when not to tag, you should not tag people? Did not know that, right? Then personal page analytics, that's always a challenge for everybody. So calling that out. Kitchen sink, blah, 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 right? You can see also we're putting the tags in the middle when possible, because drawing the eye, the little blue link there is so nice. I've got some capital letters. I got my emoji. My question mark is always a nice visual cue. Today, right? Because all the data stuff gets lost often on LinkedIn and elsewhere, plus the kitchen sink, and then a little touch with the reality to let people know I'm a Star Wars fan and I know what day it is, okay? Okay, gonna keep going, guys. I know I should breathe. I know there's some stuff happening in the chat. I'm hoping you're all doing good. And I know that my team, Katie, et cetera, is probably answering your questions. So rule number 4 is to use negative calls to action instead of positive ones, by which I mean you want to think about the opposite. So if remember is your call to action, remember to take out the trash, switch it around and say, don't forget to call to take out the trash, okay? The reason you want to do this is because it right away makes everybody feel bad. They're like, wait, did I forget? Right? Remember is just nice and friendly. So you want that reaction. Everything has to have the reaction. So you want to make people somehow fall forward. And then you want to kind of think about how you can use this to make people feel sympathetic or empathetic, like pulled into what you're talking about. Here's an example. Preach. Words are the DNA of every sales pitch. The wrong words are costing companies $400 billion in the US alone. Don't let that be you. Join moi for a free copywriting course. So here's what's happening here. We've got the don't let that be you. Like, so the first thing you do is think, sugar, honey, iced tea. Is that me? Like, oh, I hope not, right? Preach. There's my first, this is my command, right? There we go, preach. And then here's another statement. Words are the DNA of every sales pitch. Hashtag in the middle, and that tag, right? See how I'm like using these visual cues as well. Then the wrong words. What's great about when you capitalize wrong in this situation is like, I'm also making you think, oh my God, have I used the wrong words? I wonder. So I'm trying to pull on a lot of sympathetic triggers here, right? 400 billion. Wow, that's like a crazy number. And then using the emojis. And then I am a huge fan of Miss Piggy, so sometimes I refer to myself as moi, right? And I know that's funny, and I know that humor works with my audience. Okay, so rule number 5, we're doing okay on time, I think. This one is very tricky, and I love it. So you know that the newspaper, the journalist questions: who, where, what, why, how, when. Did I get them all? There's like 5 or 6. The W's and then the how. Why is my favorite one, because why is always followed by because. Always, always, always. So as humans, we know this and we expect it. So you want to use the why and because and let them play off each other, right? And so I'll show you an example of how that works here. So why, how's the weather? There you go. Is the simplest, most powerful question still, plus other sales and marketing prompts that'll make you go, hmm. So I've got a double question here. Why and how's the weather, right? Double question. Oh my God, I'm really, really going for it there. I got my question mark and my quotes, which is a visual cue. I'm drawing the eye around here. The other thing I'm doing is I always push people towards the link. You don't want to take the air out of the ball, right? In soccer, when someone passes you the ball, you want to be able to, you don't want to stop it and then turn around. You want to turn around as the ball is coming and then push it through towards the goal. This is, something they always teach us. So you want to do the same thing with your links. You don't want to put a period in front of a link. That's a stopper. You want to keep that momentum going towards clicking the link. Also, I'm using, plus sign here, hashtags in the middle, moi again, and things that'll make you go, I'm referencing the 90s because I'm totally corny, but I'm always trying to give people some other reference point other than what I'm talking about, some kind of like human or a cultural relatable thing that they can sort of tag onto and trust me about, right? Relatability equals trust. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, we're going to keep going. Here's another tricky one. This is very Shakespearean. The royal we, right? The royal you. This is like King Lear. We. So what's great about we and you is that they take the onus off I. So my assignment for you is to go through something that you've written before, maybe a blog or whatever, maybe it's an email, and try not to use the word I. Just try to take it out. It's hard to do at first, but then you get used to it. Guess what? When you do, the next thing that moves to the beginning of the sentence usually is a verb. And then you can turn that verb into an active verb. Now you've got a commanding sentence, and the command is authority, and authority equals trust, and that will get you more stuff done. Da 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 da. Right? See how it's all connected there, right? So we constantly remind ourselves what it's like to be in their shoes. Sounds obvious, but treating customers how you want to be treated can sometimes conflict with other goals, more on scaling the hard way and the right way with customer experience, phenom Dan Genghis, blah, blah, blah. So I've done it a few times there. When I'm saying we in the beginning, when you're reading this, you're thinking, oh, am I in the we? I must be in the we. She's including me. I'm part of her we, and you want to be in part of my exclusive club of buddies and friends, right? Now I'm talking to women sort of specifically here because that is a lot of, or other people who like to wear red high heels, because that is a lot of my audience. And I talk a lot about being a female entrepreneur. So it's, a topic for me. Now, one thing to notice too is I know that there's this headline here, right? And I don't need to say the headline again anywhere. It's already there and it's big and everyone's going to see it, and you do. So you want to really think about that. Like in what I'm writing here, I don't need to repeat that. You want to augment things here. So I've got my question mark, their shoes. Again, I'm actually literally getting you to think about what it's like to be in their shoes here. So there's a lot of sympathy happening. Sounds obvi. That's another statement. Obvi, because I guess I'm like Paris Hilton. But treating customers how you want to be treated can sometimes conflict with other goals. What? That should be an astonishing realization. But yes, it's actually true. So I'm saying something a little controversial here, right? And I've got a lot of economy of characters with my a lot of was for me. And I use, I don't need to use perfect grammar because I'm always thinking about how the visual is happening. So a hyphen is not an end dash or a semicolon, whatever. More on scaling the hard way and the right way with Dan. So this conversation about scaling and how to do it the right way. Obviously, it's about customer experience, right? And then here as well. So I'm not actually telling you exactly what's behind the link, but I'm also making sure that you've got enough information so that when you click it, it should be, again, supporting what I've already said here, right? And that's the gist. Curious enough to click the link, trust enough to click the link, right? Okay, keep on going. You guys okay? I hope so. It's so weird because I can't see the chat, but write what you read out loud. This is why I'm doing this with you, and I'm going to give you this example now. So if it feels like a box of marbles that you're chewing on in your mouth, that's how you know it's weird. So I'll give you an example. This is I've saved this for so long they don't send these anymore, which is funny. But this is a piece of mail I got in the mail from West Elm. I like to buy their pillows, and it says this certificate is issued for reward purposes and is a duplicate of the certificate you received by mail, which can also be accessed at blah 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 blah.com. So I am a professional reader, and you can hear that coming out of my mouth. It's just awful, awful. So same challenge to you. Anything that you're writing, read it before you send it. And if it sounds weird, if it feels, if your tongue catches, if you trip over it in any way, go back and rewrite it, because people read what you write in their heads, and they're going to have the same experience, and that will undercut your authority and then kill your trust, right? Ugh. I really am a fan of using as much familiar language as possible. Not everybody can. I mean, I know hospitals or financials, or like there's some places that need more kind of professional rounded sounding words, but the more you can make anything accessible to your reader, any kind of reader, the more readers you will get, the more engagement you'll have, the more people will feel comfortable having dialogues with you, as opposed to feeling just talked out like I'm doing to you guys today. But that's because we have hardly any time and I got to do it. Okay, so here's a good example. Again, I am racy. I'm not suggesting you be racy. When I had to fire a client but didn't have the balls because they owed me so much money, gah, and other catalysts that sprung the lately spring. Real talk with Mark from Marketing Spark. Okay, forgot my close parentheses there, but you can see that I like onomatopoeia a lot. Because it's so relatable, it's so accessible, and it does all these things I'm talking about, right? So, gah, right? I stole that from Lauren, who used to work for us. Cuz, C-U-Z, right? That's, again, it's economy of characters, but it's more casual. Balls, I'm spelling with a Z so I can get away with it. Firing a client, that's a controversial thing, right? Oh my God, you had to fire a client. Yeah, there's nothing more powerful than saying this isn't working and saying no. And then an under my breath, another catalyst that sprung the lately sprang. Fun to say, fun to read, hard to read sometimes. So you can see like all the stuff, and here's my ellipsis leading into the link, right? So I could have gone gah with an exclamation mark, but that would have killed the momentum. And again, you don't want to do that. Keep the momentum, get people to keep moving and click the link. Okay, rule number 8. Can I do it in 5 minutes? This one I've been touching on. The reason I wanted to sort of highlight all the components is because there's so much here that a lot of people forget to use, right? Now, it's a little bit harder in social than it is in email or in a Word document, for example, but you still have these tools in front of you. So all the things of the keyboard, the open paren, close paren, the ellipsis, we've been talking about this, the question marks, bold, italics, all capital letters, etc. So here we go. Even though AI gets the top bill at Lately, the bedrock of what goes into it is all based on what I learned in radio, plus as a marketing agency owner, drowning in spreadsheets. That sounds crazy, and it is, but also cool as hell. More with my pal, David Meerman Scott. So a lot happening here. Let's break it down. Though, right, economy of character and also more relatable. Obviously, that's, not a real abbreviation. I just made it up. And then I'm putting my hashtags inline. Inline always performs, with an exception of Instagram a little bit, but inline will always perform better for a number of reasons, but you get the visual bonus there. Same with having a tag in the middle of it. Obviously, tagging gets you more engagement, even if you're tagging yourself. Then I've got my drowning. I've got my plus sign here. This is a long sentence, right? Even though AI gets the top billet lately, the bedrock of what goes into it is all based on what I learned at radio, plus as a marketing user, drowning in spreadsheets. And then here comes the short sentence. That sounds crazy. And it is, but also cool as hell, right? So there's a rhythm there, and it makes people breathe. This is like another kind of interesting tool that I love. It makes them stop. It puts silence in the room. And guess what happens when you're on the radio and you leave silence in the air? Everybody leans forward because they're like, what's happening? Did the DJ die? Like, what's going on? Right. And so this is something you can do in your writing as well, as we're leaving space without leaving space. There's still words there, right? You can also start sentences with and, just in case you didn't know that. And but, like, this is, writing how I talk. Now, David Meerman Scott is now my pal, but then he wasn't. But I'm doing something sneaky by just calling him my pal, and sort of, bring him into that network, just like we did. This is a similar tactic there. Okay, let's go. Do unto others. This one's so easy, hard to forget, because you get into your silo and you think, oh, it's only me here, and you forget that the people on the other side of your Slack messaging are all humans just like you, and they've got sick kids and sick parents, and maybe they're getting their hair done, or I don't know, some routine procedure today, whatever it is. We have to remember that everybody's a human. Um, that's why I put so many relatable things in there, because I'm just trying to figure out ways to connect with you. Today we talked about the weather and where you are, right? That's the best. The weather is the best topic in the world. Where you are is the best topic in the world. There's always places for people to relate with that content. And there's nothing boring about it. It's very, very strategic. So here's an example of doing it to others. Sales peep, mold your scripts to your own voice, please. Otherwise, you sound fake ass and untrustworthy. Plus other tips I learned from a former life and broadcast radio page all the way down, and then link and etc. So by the way, I broke a rule. You should never put more than three hashtags on LinkedIn. So because it knows and it hates you. So don't put more than three. Anyways, so right away I'm addressing sales peeps. This message is for you, and I'm complaining. I'm making a statement though. Mold your scripts to your own voice. This is my command. I'm actually making the command to your own voice, and I'm saying something everybody knows, right? Otherwise, you sound. And now I'm getting away with fake ass, because that's my MO, and untrustworthy though, which is totally true. We've all been the victims of this, whether you're on the phone or if somebody's writing to you. You know when it's not directed to you and not customization, and that doesn't mean dear Kate, right? That doesn't mean customized. Here's my under the breath plus other tips I learned. And then this is interesting for people who don't know this. So I'm saying it again because you have to say things multiple times. The old marketing adage was 7 times a customer had to hear something before they made the buying decision. Now it's 24. So quantity is important, but you just have to tweak the variations, because if you say the same thing all the time, people think it's spammy, right? So that's what I'm doing here. Page all the way down, that's that onomatopoeia. And then I'm helping them out because I know it's a long list here. And if they actually do want to read about me, they should get down to the bottom so they don't have to go through everything else. So I'm helping people out. That's my trust factor there, right? Little help. And then we can see I'm giving you some more context too, some copywriting tips, or what you're going to get if you click this link and go all the way down there. Another thing you can do, by the way, is time zones. So you can just say to somebody 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and do the math for them. That's a hard thing to do. I was an English major, and so I forget this, but I had to learn to do that in radio. This is the most important thing, is to keep the objective clear. Somebody just told me that they were changing their company name, and I was like, why? And they were like, well, because we don't, it's a name, it's Egosky was the name of it, right? And they wanted to change it to like Posture RX. And I was like, well, you're going to be competing with everybody else. You have a made up name that already serves you really well in SEO. Now you're competing with the whole world on posture plus back pillows and like, I don't know, like that sounds like a nightmare to me. Or like people are like, yay, let's use a QR code on this t-shirt. And you're like, why? Because it's new and cool. Like, you need a better answer. So the thing with all communication is there's one objective, which we touched on before. And that doesn't matter if it's, verbal or texting or whatever, or writing an email or writing a social post. Do what I want you to do. Take out the trash, buy my stuff, close the deal, whatever it is, vote for me, right? That's what it is. And so admit that, know that you want people to do stuff, and usually you want them to buy your stuff. You're in the mode of selling, even if you're in marketing, of course, that's your job. But then back into it and figure out how to get there best. With social, it's easy. There's only 2 objectives: click and share. That's it, right? So I'm thinking about every piece of content I create. Is it doing both of those? That's the dream. Is it doing at least one? Okay, right? Now, clicking is harder because clicking requires trust. So people are less likely to click, except for with how-to content. Anything behind a how-to link usually gets all the clicks you like, because it's that same why, because people are curious. How do I do it? Well, the link is going to tell me. Great, right? But the other way is thinking about the shares. So shares are easy. You want to think about the ego. In college, when somebody recommended a record to you and you're like, this is amazing, and then you shared it with your friend, now you get the credit for having the good taste, right? It's the same idea. People share content from other people because it makes them look good. So when you think about the content you're creating, think about the same thing. I don't play guitar. This is a picture of me holding a fake guitar. The secret, remember that barf of a book, isn't a secret at all. It's a mindset. More real talk for entrepreneurs and underdogs with my rad pals, Jim and Chris, who are my rad pals. So I'm just looking for the share here. I know a lot of people have read The Secret. I'm probably the only one who has ever called it a barf of a book. There's my onomatopoeia, by the way, barf. And it is a barfy book. And the secret is that there isn't a secret. It's not a secret. It is a mindset. That's what they teach you in the book. So don't even bother wasting the book because it was a huge waste of time. I wish they had just, told me that in the beginning. But you can see here the commands, right? The humor, like all this stuff. And I'm really looking for this share. And I got a lot of shares, which is awesome. I know we're almost done. You guys are doing so great. I promise you a free gift. We're a few minutes over. So this is the most important rule, which is to dog food your own marketing. Make sure your whole team is signed up for your newsletters. Everybody should be following you on social. You want those extra eyeballs because they're going to help you navigate, obviously, anything that need to be edited. But the feel of how things might feel for a customer. It's hard to be you drink your own champagne, right? Plus, then it makes them sympathetic to what's going on, and they become evangelists as well. They're your biggest team members. So, all right, guys. So here's the deal. This is not the gift, but this is an offer, which is if you have specific questions about how your marketing is doing and how your writing is doing, you want to talk to one of my teammates specifically, Justin would be the guy for you. He will gladly help you out, and in exchange, he's going to give you a demo of the product. So it's a lot of fun. He'll do it with one of your links, and you can see how it works, and it's cool. AI is cool, right? So snap your phones, look at this, grab a demo with Justin. We can put links also in the chat, and I can come back to this slide in 1 second, but I want to give you the gift because I'm running late and I'm sorry about that. This is my gift to you from David Allison. So David consults the United Nations, right? The United Nations, and he helps them understand what values drive marketing decisions across the globe. Well, guess what? There's 56 of them, and he broke them all down in the little gift here. And so you can snap that and go understand what they all are. They're fascinating. So it's helping you to understand how to rearrange the words you're using based on the values that your customers care about. Values like community, environment, family, different sort of things like that. And it's killing demographics, by the way. So it's a whole new way and much smarter way of thinking. That is the show. One more thing to share with you. We're going to do this again January 21st. Not this, but a whole new class on lead generation. So don't forget to join that. I'm going to look at the questions as I can. We will send you guys this deck if we want to. I think that's true. Tracy can keep me honest here. I got to see. So anything that I should know about Q&A that I missed? Anybody want to throw something out? Because I can't see them fast enough. One new one. Great. Thank you, Mary Ellen. You're awesome. Q from Callan. What about the latest bot strategy where you get folks to comment on a word that triggers? Yeah, I mean, I've seen that, and any automated messaging, I feel like I can still smell it. How about you guys? But LinkedIn, and I know, is onto that. I know Twitter is onto all kinds of automation stuff, X, whatever it is. They get there eventually, as do humans. So the hard way is the way, guys. It sucks. It's true. The hard way is the way. You got to put in the work to get the great success there. Okay, I gotta breathe and I have to pee. I love you guys. Thanks for joining today. Happy holidays to all of you. And again, we'll send you guys each the deck, so it flew by too fast. Thank you, Instagram as well. Love you all. All right, thank you. Cheers.